one. Welcome back to our podcast where we talk about all things. It's giving beauty,
fashion,
pop culture, and a lot of kiki. I'm your pop culture baddie.
and your fashionable Scorpio.
So join us, Mommy Tiff,
And Chan.
as we get feminine chaotic.
What?
It's the name of the podcast, Feminine Chaos. Duh.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Hi, lovers.
I'm Chan.
And I'm Tiff. And this is the Feminine Chaos Podcast. Welcome back, y'all.
Welcome back, Bookies. Welcome back.
If you are tuning in video this time, we are actually kind of giving you a little bit more of a calm, laid back, comfy, cozy type of vibe.
The girls are tired.
Yeah, we are. We're exhausted.
The girls are tired.
I literally not even texted, I was on FaceTime with Chandler earlier, and I was just like, listen, this is what I'm wearing. Like, what are you wearing? Because it's very much a crew neck with some, very comfy, cozy, at-home, run around the house type of pants.
Also, I had an itis meal earlier, which consisted of a lot of soul food, so sleep is quite literally calling my name right now.
It is also Sunday evening that we are recording this.
Yes. And we had some time yesterday as well.
We went very hard. What happened? Where did we go yesterday?
We went to a little rodeo-themed party, which was cool.
Bookie.
Maybe we'll get into a little bit later about how I truly feel about New York parties, New York Instagram parties, for that fact.
Okay.
Just because I think we had a good time because we are a lit group.
Yeah.
I think the party itself could have been better, but it is what it is.
I do have some critiques as well.
I have a lot of critiques, especially pertaining to the music. But I did like the fact that everybody was in theme.
Mm-hmm.
A majority of the people there were in theme, which was nice because I feel like a regular thing you see in the party scene right now, not even in New York, but just in the party scene in general.
Yeah.
Everybody just feels like they're too cool for shit.
Yeah.
And I quite literally hate that. Y'all too cool to shake your ass. Y'all too cool to follow the theme. Y'all too cool to do this. You just too cool. And I don't like partying with niggas that think they're too cool.
No, I feel that. It was really nice to see a sea of predominantly Black folks just dressed up in Western cowboy, cowgirl attire. And I just love I will say this, all of the girls.
Yeah, everybody looked
fabulous.
Very good. Very good.
I mean, eating the fits down. I was
Absolutely.
like, hold on, some of y'all need to come up off where you bought this outfit from. I was seeing a couple cute 2-pieces, stomach out. I was like, oh, excuse me.
Stomach out, ass out.
Period.
You know. How was your week?
My week it is what it was. I went to work. Work is work.
Work is work.
But to me, more of the highlight of my week, I feel was that party. Something that I feel I took away that I really enjoyed from the party was being able to ride the mechanical bull.
Yes, y'all. In the back of the party, they had a mechanical bull, and I did get my ass up there.
You'll see us on TikTok on the mechanical bull.
On TikTok. Sweet honey bucket.
Like a mechanical bull.
Okay.
But how was your week?
It was cool. It was just another week.
Right. That's how I feel.
To be on topic, I have been tired quite literally all week. I'm #exhausted girly.
#burnt out.
Stand up. I don't think I'm burnt out. I don't want to wish that on me, but I am tired as fuck.
Where the wood at?
Yeah, I'm just, yeah. Yeah. Work is work. Work is work. I wish I had a little more time to do other shit, but it is what the fuck it is.
Yeah, I don't think when I say burnt out for me, I'm more of I'm like you said, I'm just exhausted. But in terms of my creativity, I've had a lot of amazing ideas flow past my brain this week.
I think my ideas are great. I'm just having a hard time executing
because you're not finding the time.
Because I'm not finding the time because I am so tired. I've received a lot of PR these past couple weeks. And obviously, I want to make videos with the PR, and I just quite literally cannot bring myself to do that because I am so tired. It's going to get done. Trust. But it's just kind of Me a year ago probably would have had these videos out and posted and just would have been posting 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
I think what my issue is TikTok is too fast versus like when we were coming up. You could do YouTube and once a week is a good pace. Like now you're competing with people that are dropping 2, 3, and 4 videos a day. And that is great for y'all. And I love that. I love that. But it's a lot. Like it's a lot. It's quite literally a lot.
Well, when you work a full-time job and because we both work within social, like you're giving your whole heart and soul to a dedicated brand page. And then you have to go home and turn out content for yourself and maybe any external clients or brand deals you got going on. Like, and the good thing I would say about PR is you'll get it done, but there's no deadline on PR. You know what I'm saying?
Well, some of the ones I have, it's like, I would say like a soft deadline of just kind of like, can you please have this posted by XYZ date? Okay. Which like, yeah, I'm going to, but babes, I got to sit in front of that camera. Like, I got to get up there and get on that phone and edit, and I got to do this and I got to do that, and I'm just like, ha! Moves, bangs out face. Inhales very deeply.
Yeah.
Exhales very deeply. Pulls cover overhead and sighs. Like, yeah, just.
Yeah, my bed is the best place on the earth. I will say that.
Jesus Christ. And I got a good mattress too. I know she's missing me a lot right now.
I'm dead. Not your mattress missing you.
She is. Got me a good mattress.
I'm dead. Well, I will.
Shout out Casper.
Oh.
This episode is not sponsored.
But in the future, it may be.
But in the future, it might be.
Period. Okay, well, with that being said, something that I want to say that I saw all over my For You page this week, speaking of the TikToks, was what is going on at Columbia University. And so, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the polls.
Yes, ladies and gents and all non-binaries.
Period.
We're getting a little serious today, and we are talking about Columbia University's Gaza Solidarity Encampment that has sparked protests across college campuses all across the nation, really bringing light to the current genocide happening in Palestine right now. And we want to take a moment to educate you, let you know exactly what's happening, giving you a play-by-play, and just bringing light to this movement that has been doing numbers everywhere. And shout out to the kids for putting everything literally on the line.
The kids, lot of them, the young adults, we were just them like a couple years ago. Literally. So with that being said, I have some hot facts just to put y'all onto some more details and specifics why this encampment even began. Okay, so the protest started specifically on the East Butler Lawn, which is a part of Columbia's campus. Students from both Columbia University and their sister school, Barnard College, began setting up tents around 4 a.m. on Wednesday, April 17th. So that was technically not too long ago, this past week. The protest was organized by 3 major organizations: the Columbia University Apartheid Divest Coalition, Students for Justice and Peace in Palestine, and the Jewish Voice for Peace. So basically, within that same day of the protest, the university's administration ended up calling the police on the protesters. And it should be noted that this is the first time in 50 years since Columbia University has called the police to come on campus for a student like protest like this. And if you can't tell by now, the protest is happening for obviously a litany of reasons. Chandler already discussed them, but just to reiterate, Columbia specifically wants a ceasefire in Gaza and demanding their university to divest from Israel. Meanwhile, Barnard College has been trying to silence their campus and students on speaking out against what's taking place in Gaza. Now, following information, I'm about to report something that I saw within The Nation, an online American-owned magazine. An article was actually put out back when there was actually a chemical attack that happened on Columbia's campus during a pro-Palestine protest. So this is not what happened this past week, but a couple of months ago. So, side note, the president of Columbia had to actually testify this week on Wednesday, the same day as the current encampment that was happening down in Congress for a specific event, which was the chemical attack that happened on campus. So the journalist Ava Youngstoner from The Nation reported, quote, in November, the Barnard administration removed a statement titled Solidarity with Palestine from the college's Department of Women's, Gender, and Sexuality Studies website, despite faculty opposition. The next month, the college quietly revised policies pertaining to website governance and acceptable political statements. In the revised political activity policy, posting political statements on websites bearing the barnard.edu name, basically you're not allowed to post any political statements on any of like the college's websites that end with, barnard.edu. And posting signs across campus basically containing political statements on grounds of the college are prohibited activities. So this very much goes against the First Amendment, freedom of speech, but also needless to say, these aren't the only things that have specifically taken place as to contributing to why the students are protesting now. So I definitely say, like, go look this up. If you haven't been on TikTok and haven't seen it, there's plenty of outlets reporting on this. But there's been a litany of reasons that we just don't have time to discuss on today's episode today. So definitely go check up more on that. But I want to specifically play a video now of a Columbia student who has partaken in the protests and see what they have to say about all of this.
So I'm a student at Columbia University in the city of New York. Now, if you're listening to me and you're like, babe, your voice sounds horrendous, it is because 2-3 days ago, whatever day of the week, Wednesday, or was it Thursday? I don't even remember at this point. I was very busy screaming at the police, the loudest that I've screamed in my entire fucking life, to not arrest my friends and destroy their belongings. Yet here we are, both of those things having happened. Followed by the university suspending said over 100 arrested students, and Barnard College specifically evicting them, giving them 15 minutes to get their belongings, putting on a legitimate timer, 15 minutes to get their belongings, and not giving them a place to stay, not allowing them to access dining halls. These are Black students, brown students, Jewish students, low-income students that are not being allowed to access these things for the high crime of protesting on their own campus in the designated protest zone they made after October 7th. This is the first time in over 50 years that Columbia has brought NYPD onto this campus. Now let me actually explain to you why the NYPD has not been on this campus in over 50 years. In 1968, this was during the Civil Rights era and the beginning of the anti-war movement, students occupied different buildings at Columbia to protest Columbia's hand in building a segregated gym in Morningside Park in Harlem, because they were gentrifying Harlem, and against the university's war profiteering. In response, Columbia decided to bring the NYPD onto campus. Over 1,000 officers, over 800 students were brutalized by the police, 700 were arrested. It was absolutely insane. It is such a stain on this university's history. They legitimately have a class called Columbia 1968 talking about all of their failures and what needs to be learned from this because it was so monumentally horrible. It is because of that new structures were put in place, like the University Senate, that made sure that Columbia couldn't make these overarching anti-democratic decisions that bear over the entire student body without any kind of oversight or approval from the students, from the faculty, from the staff, the people that actually make this place a university. And it's not like since then there haven't been protests on this campus, massive ones. And I'm relatively certain sit-ins and building occupations. There have been. But Columbia's trustees, Columbia's new president, decided that what was most important was to capitulate to the demands of one Elise Stefanik, who legitimately purports the Great Replacement Theory, which is not only racist and anti-immigrant, but is also very deeply anti-Semitic. Her and the rest of her crazy conservative colleagues in the House Education Committee. The only support the university has at this point is from that committee, random Zionists, and Eric Adams. Even the NYPD was like, when we were arresting these students, we didn't see any kind of public safety issue. They're the ones that said that there was one. We didn't see any. Even the NYPD thinks you're wrong. And I'm sure maybe they assumed that by bringing the NYPD on campus, they would send shivers down the spines of students that hoped for universities to divest from Israeli apartheid. The opposite happened in a completely spontaneous and unorganized move when they closed the one lawn that had the encampments on it and they were arresting students, and students hopped the other lawn and started occupying that one and have been there ever since. They so deeply, monumentally miscalculated the impact of their own actions. They also monumentally miscalculated the proportion of their students that genuinely want to see a free Palestine, which is the vast majority, which is also why this university has voted, or the university student body in Columbia College and Barnard College have multiple times voted amongst the student body to divest from Israeli apartheid, and the presidents and trustees have just been like, no, we don't want to do that. And in majorities every single time. And that's happened, I think, 2 or 3 times so far. They keep positioning this as this like fringe issue or something that like some people feel very strongly about, when like mad students are on that second lawn right now. Like, and students at other universities have now started their own encampments, like at Yale and at UNC, Chapel Hill in North Carolina. So how's that working out for you, Manu Shafiq, Laura Rosenberry, Columbia trustees? On top of that, we have gotten messages from students inside of Gaza, journalists inside of Gaza, including Bisan, which was crazy, saying that they also support this action. So I don't know what they think they can do at this point. There's this really great quote that I heard in this documentary that I watched several years back. The documentary is about the American immigration system, so it's not the same subject matter. But thematically, the nature of the quote was about human beings who struggle for something, whether on their own volition or just because they have to. The quote was, if you put rocks in the river, the water flows around it. These institutions can put as many barriers as they want to student activism, student action. It's not going to stop it from happening. If anything, you will provoke it even more. Because not only are you angering the part of the students that are angry about Palestine, you're also angering the part of students that are angry about police presence, about state-sanctioned violence, because they, like students of color, know what that state-sanctioned violence looks like and the impact that it can have on the rest of a person's life. Now, if people want to take action defending the students that put it on the line, and then also demanding divestment from institutional investments in apartheid, there's several action items on sjp.columbia and CU Apartheid Divest on Instagram. And then you guys should also follow them there. And then sjp.columbia, you're on TikTok for more updates on things happening, because things just keep happening. And they will keep happening until Columbia divests.
So obviously, after watching that video, I feel like I learned a lot more about Columbia University's history, for one. I didn't realize how active their students were in protests. But I also think it's very interesting now to like see, basically when I saw some clips online of Representative Ilhan Omar basically talking to the president of Columbia and asking questions like, why has this happened? Have these students who have been basically suspended or kicked off or harmed, have they been contacted? And really just laying into the university's president. And I just think that it's very interesting to see how far over policing has come in New York, period. And this goes back.
We can thank Eric Adams.
Right. And we could go all the way back to Mayor Eric Adams right now, who, along with the governor of New York, has really...
Kathy Hochul, you are not off the hook, boo.
Who has really bumped up on putting police in subway stations. And of course, whenever there's just a huge police presence, there's always going to be Black and brown people who are unfortunately attacked. That being said, I hate to see that that's happening to like college students who truthfully are just hosting a peaceful protest on their campus. And this kind of stuff happens all the time. Literally, when me and Chandler were at Howard, there would be protests. So I'm just like, I find it very interesting that they felt the need that, mind you, the encampment wasn't even for that long before the police were called.
Yeah, they had to be on there for maybe a little bit over 24 hours, and the police were enacted immediately. First and foremost, I want to say it is amazing to see so many people stand up for things that we personally believe are right.
Yeah.
And even though this is such a controversial issue, which it should not be, but it is such a controversial issue, it's hard to put a lot on the line. Students have lost housing. Students have gotten charged with trespassing. Students have been suspended. A lot of whom do not have a safety net.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, your bravery does not go unnoticed at all.
Yeah.
I even donated some to the fund to make sure students find housing, to make sure people are fed, whatever needs to happen.
Right.
I sent a little coin for whatever needs to happen. It is incredibly violent to enact police not only on harmless college kids, but that quickly into a protest. And these police came strapped up.
Yeah.
Quite literally strapped up. I think the thing that was great to see was the entire campus like rallying behind them, like trying to stand in front of the bus so it wouldn't leave. And when those students got taken away, they came back to the yard and occupied both of the lawns. And then also there are schools around the nation that also stood in solidarity with Columbia, UNC Chapel Hill, the new school in downtown Manhattan, Yale, Wash U, St. Louis, and Vanderbilt are some, just to name a few, and there are protests all over the country.
And there's probably going to be more by the time this gets posted.
I just don't know why this is such a controversial issue. But even this controversial issue aside, the policing of New York right now is scary, to say the least. I am at the West 4th Street train station almost every day. Full National Guard.
Yeah, that's also, sorry, I also meant to mention that, like, there's also been the National Guard being placed into subway stations. That's a whole different level of just over policing. Like that, it's one thing to have like your local PD. It's another thing to have the National Guard.
I also think it's scary knowing that like you can get kicked out of school, can lose your job for asking the government to intervene in the mass killing of other people. Yeah. I feel like in this, we have lost, I don't want to say we have lost our humanity, because we have, I feel like the general population is standing together, but it's like we're almost screaming into the abyss right now, because it's like unfortunately, we have the U.S. like vetoing votes in the United Nations, and it's just like extremely, I'm really about to cry right now, because it's like it's extremely dystopian. It's hurtful to get online and see people being mass murdered. It's like, it's literally mass murder. Like
it's traumatizing. It's a genocide.
It's quite literally a genocide, and it's now time to call things. Like, you need to call it what it is. These people do not deserve this. They've never deserved this.
Yeah, the general American public does not agree with what is going on and what America has her hands in right now. And I think right now, when I look at government and when I look at politics, I really just lose faith each and every day, because you vote these people into the office and they do things you ask them to not do or to stop. And
it's a money grab.
It's a lot of things, but yes, that is one of them. But it's just very much like we put people in positions and they don't do what their constituents ask them to do. And it's like, at that point, you lose faith in your government. And then at that point, people don't want to vote anymore. And it's like, I feel like a lot of and we've mentioned this, there's a lot of discourse of like people wanting to leave America because regardless of how the upcoming presidential race turns out, we don't feel safe in America as it is now. We don't.
I've had this conversation on numerous occasions. While I cannot tell you what to do or not do, I 100% feel and understand when people look at me and go, I don't want to vote. And I think it's a completely fair way to feel. Mm-hmm. Y'all told us vote for Hillary. We voted for Hillary. She got the popular vote. She did not win. Mm-hmm. Y'all told us to vote for Joe. We voted for Joe. Joe won. And look at where we're at. And we're going to get into the squeezing in of clauses in bills. We're going to get into that later regarding the TikTok ban. But overall, how did you feel when you saw the news about Columbia? And I also have a lot of friends that are in Columbia graduate programs right now.
We do.
So I feel extremely close to the situation.
Yeah.
And I want to do everything I can to let people know that like this is an issue I completely stand on the side of Palestine for.
Yeah.
And y'all can quite literally quote me on that. And I just think that people should not be made out to be villains or be criminalized for thinking that people should be free.
Yeah, and not slaughtered and not killed and not starved.
And Palestinian liberation is quite literally Black liberation.
Yeah.
But Palestinian liberation is liberation for all.
We are not all free until Palestine is
exactly
free. I've been depressed, I feel like, over this situation because, again, like you said, it feels like you can't do anything. You feel helpless. And then you look at our government and our government isn't doing anything. I just feel like Americans right now, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but I feel like the general consensus amongst me and my friends is we do not feel comfortable in the country that we're in.
Yeah.
That's one.
Especially as Black women.
Yes. Two, we don't see a future as of right now of anything positive. And three.
My therapist asked me that. She was like, do you think change will be made with like our generation? And I was like,
I feel like Gen Z is the generation to change everything.
Yes, but I think the only thing that'll get in our way is like the government stopping us. Quite literally stopping us.
I will say the government is very old and the loudest generation is very young. And the most, I feel like, prominent generation is very young. And so there's just a huge disconnect between the people and government. Like that's it. There's a huge disconnect between the two, and it's just like
I even want to go to lengths to say that I don't believe there's a disconnect. I believe they're hearing it and they're seeing it, but they have other, and this is my personal opinion, but I feel like they have other interests that don't involve us. Being free. Or that really just don't involve us at the baseline.
Right.
I think it's more so like, okay, but I can line my pockets right now. I don't think it's a disconnect. I just think they're choosing to not 100%. Do it. Just quite literally choosing. They know what the fuck going on. They all have Twitter. 100%. They all have TikTok.
They do have TikTok, but want to ban it.
They have all these apps. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know how people feel. They just said, quite literally looked in our face and said, we don't care.
Yeah.
Because that's how it feels. But not only is that how it feels. That's exactly what it is.
What it is, yeah.
It's what it is.
Okay.
And I think, it's a lot. It's very heavy. To the Columbia students, to the students
Barnard.
around the nation. You guys are brave. You guys are strong. Do not stop.
Yeah,
do not let up at all. I think it's also funny that it's Columbia's admitted students weekend.
Oh God. And they are seeing all of that.
Yeah, and it's just like, listen, like, you got to be down for the cause. For our speed round, Taylor Swift released her album, The Tortured Poets Department, which has garnered a lot of discourse and talk on the internet, especially during this time when, and I think this goes hand in hand with what's happening in Gaza, as she has this album called The Tortured Poets Department, but there are actual writers and poets overseas that are writing about freedom and just writing about liberation that are being tortured in real time. So I think it's a choice for sure. It's definitely a choice.
And we'll talk more about the album, I think next episode. And just like what we think about it, and in terms of like, I was going to talk about it now, but I'll save it for next week just because we have a lot to get through in terms of like just how she's presented it. Something she's worked on for a couple years. She just dropped it on the 19th. And seeing the choice of people that she decided, she only has technically two other like featured artists on it. One being Post Malone, which I think is insane that Post Malone was on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter and now on the Taylor Swift The Tortured Poets department. The man is having a hell of a year, but we will save the rest of all of the Taylor Swifts for the next episode.
So if you're a Swiftie, tap in. I am not a Swiftie, but if you are a Swiftie, tap in.
Yeah, I'm not a certified Swiftie, but I do like to dabble in all things pop culture.
Beyonce sent Coach Dawn Staley a PR box. For those that are not familiar with Coach Dawn Staley, she is the head coach of the reigning national championship of college basketball women's.
Oh.
Okay, shout out the University of South Carolina. Okay. Go Gamecocks.
I was about to say, you better say go Gamecocks.
And let's insert that video for y'all right here.
A video, thank you. Look at the flowers. I didn't even think they grow these here in South Carolina. Look at the merchandise, okay? If you know, you know. But I'm gonna read this card here, and if you know, you know. To Coach Staley and the entire South Carolina Gamecocks, me and my family watched your games and cheered you on through the entire season. Repeat, me and my family watched your games and cheered you on through the entire season. I'm so proud of you. All my love. Hit it. Hit it. That's B. That's B. B and her family.
Bridgerton season 3 drops next month.
I'm so excited for that.
We did mention this last week, but I feel like I have to bring it up again just to let y'all know that it is dropping.
I'm weak.
Next
Chandler
month.
said, don't hit her phone.
Yeah, do not hit my phone. I will be offline until I finish all those episodes. So if you don't hear from me on the day that drops, you know why.
Needless to say, we'll most likely be doing a review of the show.
Oh, not most likely. We will be. Stay tuned for that.
Period.
And Willow Smith.
Hey.
We love Willow Smith around here. This is Willow Smith's fan account. Dropped a new song called Big Feelings.
Oh, I need to go listen to it.
The range
Oh. That is Willow.
Quite literally phenomenal. I think Willow has this like musical creativity and mastery that I think is really hard to find. But I also think others are not granted the opportunity to have. I quite literally love that. And please go stream Big Feelings. You would think I'm on their management team the way I'm out here caping for this. But no, the song is very
screaming.
good. The visualizer is also out as well. Just please go stream that song. And speaking of songs, let's get into our viral clip of the week. I believe JT has a hit on her hand with OK dropping very soon. There is no date on that as of yet. But when that song does drop, I would like to say I'm sorry in advance.
Oh.
I'm getting feral. And don't let you play that at no party.
Okay.
That I'm in attendance to. Because I'm about to drop it low, Marlo Hampton, RHOA. I'll kick it up.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm screaming. Yeah, people have already started playing around with the sample that has been dropped. And people are like, this is going to be the song of the 2024 summer. So I'm excited.
Giving Sumer. Song of the Sumer. But TikTok viral clip. Let's get into the TikTok ban.
TikTok news.
TikTok news. TikTok ban. Tic-tac-toe. Or whatever Nancy Pelosi said.
I'm weak.
Tic-tac-toe. On Saturday, April 20th, the House passed legislation that would now force the sale of TikTok from its Chinese owner, ByteDance, with a vote of 360 to 58. This bill was wedged between a $95 billion foreign aid bill for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. This bill already went through the House once, but was sent back from the Senate, citing that there might not be enough time to get ByteDance to divest. So the clause was changed originally from the first House bill from 6 months to 12 months, hoping that if it does go through the Senate, that ByteDance would have enough time to find an American owner, an American investor, and then divest from the company.
Right.
With this change, it is said that there is growing support from the Senate, and Joe Biden has stated that if this does come across his desk,
he
does intend to sign it. Now, a couple of things. This bill can't really be separated from this foreign aid bill because they're coming as a package deal.
And that's for a reason.
And it's definitely for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think that that's something to note. TikTok spokesperson Alex Horrick told NPR, "It is unfortunate that the House of Representatives is using the cover of important foreign and humanitarian assistance to once again jam through a ban bill that would trample the free speech rights of 170 million Americans."
I agree.
The Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer stated that the Senate is ready to take the next step, and Biden, again, did say if this came across his desk, he would sign it. If the app declines to sell or divest within that year, mobile app stores and web hosting apps would stop offering the app to users in the US. So post that year, you would not be able to download at all anymore. And if you already have it downloaded on your phone, updates would not come to it anymore. So after a while, the app would be rendered not useful because if your app is not being updated, you can't use it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not useful, useless. So my personal opinion, while I don't want to fearmonger regarding this or on this issue, there is a high chance that it could pass. I think it's kind of too early to say. While there are saying it's garnering a lot of support from the Senate, I personally haven't seen a senator openly come out and say that they're for or against this. Besides Chuck Schumer, I think they're keeping it close to the vest, but I do think that there is a very, very real possibility that it will go through the Senate. Now, if this were to pass, I think that this would cause a major economic downturn that I personally don't think everybody has taken into account. Not everybody. Congress, let me say. Congress has taken into account a lot of people would lose jobs. A lot of people bring in a lot extra income from social media, TikTok more specifically. A lot of small businesses operate on TikTok. Quite literally keep them open. A lot of people have been found. Small businesses have been found through TikTok. You take away that app, you take away income.
I found a lot of businesses through TikTok.
People quite literally cannot afford to eat anymore, cannot afford to pay rent. You have lost a source of income. You have now lost your job. Now, TikTok could stay, but I do think the chances of ByteDance selling are low because TikTok has over 1.7 billion users. It is one of the largest, if not the largest, social media platform that we currently have that is not American or US owned, which I think is very much plays into why they want ByteDance to divest from the company.
For sure. With
the 1.7 billion users in 170 million of them residing in the US, that's only 1.7% of TikTok's user base. They don't need us.
Right. They're not worried about us.
They're not worried about us at all. Some of the biggest TikTokers in the world are not American followed accounts. Kabi Lame is South African. And a lot of other majorly followed and major influencers are not American.
Yeah.
I know that Charlie D'Amelio's of the world and the Addison Rays, they're great, whatever, but there are TikTokers that quite frankly are bigger than them.
Yeah.
So again, as we've said in earlier episodes, when the House passed it the first time, I still stand on the fact that this is repackaged censorship.
Yeah, same.
Whether this goes through or not, I think everybody should be prepared for the way in which that the government, Republican and Democrat, because this is no longer a bipartisan issue. This is us against the government at this point in time.
Yeah.
How they are ready at any point in time to trample out all over our free speech. And the same thing happened with Elon Musk buying Twitter and changing it to X. I
haven't been on Twitter since.
The algorithm has changed. The way in which you are shown tweets has changed. There is a censoring that's happened. There's an increase in bots. There's an increase in hate speech, violence, and all this stuff on Twitter because he's taken away the things that were put in place by Twitter to keep it a safe app.
Right.
And make sure that censoring was not happened. That has been taken away. And I just think that if an American-owned company were to buy TikTok or invest in TikTok, the exact same thing would happen, and that's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about this not too many episodes ago, because it is showing up differently. Like Chandler mentioned, it's at the bottom of a bill, whereas now it feels very much like the government, again, can't be trusted because they're trying to get things done under the American public's nose. And
y'all, they swooped into Congress late Friday night, early Saturday morning to pass this, thinking that nobody would
pick this
up or see what was going on, or nobody would read the fine print of this bill to be like, oh, there's a clause in here regarding TikTok, in addition to y'all sending $95 billion to Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel.
It's very frustrating because TikTok is like, I'll just say it's my life. And like, I haven't been in love with an app like TikTok, honestly, since Vine. And I was telling Chandler earlier, I was like, like the way Vine used to have me up till 3 a.m.
Of the little 6-second videos?
Yes, but they were just true quotables, true entertainment. And I remember when basically Vine kind of died, obviously in a very different way. It wasn't based off of a government trying to ban the app, but it was just more of like Vines were ending up in different places like YouTube or on Twitter. And so not that many people were going to the app, especially because there was also a lot of ads. It was getting very ad heavy. I remember that. It was getting annoying.
TikTok is getting a little ad heavy.
It is getting ad heavy. I will say
that. I will say.
But I think the way that the TikTok app is designed, the way that as much as I go back and forth with whether or not I like the algorithm, the different things about what the app can do for you in terms of providing you information.
Mm-hmm. It's an educational resource.
It is a educational resource. And as we mentioned, there is truthfully a thing going on in America right now where they are trying to pull out resources when it comes to education.
Also, I will say, side note, TikTok is the #1 search engine.
Oh, yeah.
The #1 search engine. I use it like I use Google. I go in, I type X, Y, and Z restaurant. Yeah. I go and type how to. I'm looking at adopting a bunny. I said adopting a bunny black girl. That was my search.
Literally, yeah.
And everything I needed came right up. It populated.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised if TikTok is the #1 search engine because I'll go on Google and then I'll be like, now let me get on TikTok.
Yep.
Because I need to see this visually. I need somebody to give it to me at the snap of my fingers. It's just really a powerful resource and I would hate to see it go away, especially because it's also a part of my job. Not just content that I create for myself, but also my day job. So it's like,
I also think
I'm like, what is my life? I mean, I can go into any form of social media, but like that is just a genuine concern.
Yeah. But that's a concern for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The one thing I am shocked by is there are not as many influencers
talking about this.
I personally would like to see that make all their income off of TikTok, speaking about this, lobbying for this, and more importantly, protesting this.
Yeah.
I think if your main source of income and you are a major influencer with millions of followers, you should be taking the time to talk about this.
Yeah.
And you should also be taking the time to organize about this. And that's the
point of
personal
TikTok.
opinion. That's quite literally my personal opinion. The amount of people, and I'm not going to call no names.
Yeah, because I have a couple of names.
I have a couple off the top.
Yeah.
Have been quite literally mute.
Just pretending like it's not going on. I don't know how you can pretend like this is not
Quite
going
literally
on.
mute. And some of y'all will be able to bounce back. And some of y'all won't.
That's
And I don't wish that on anybody, but I think that this reality is so very real and so very close that I think this is something that we possibly need to be prepping for. If you are not familiar with Coco McCo, who is a TikToker who got famous and garnered a lot of attention by predicting new social trends. I love her. She has a great podcast, but also just her channel in general is just great. COCOMOCOE. And she thinks that more people are going to start going back to YouTube and long form content. And I personally think that they're already there because the rise of longer videos on TikTok, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But I just think that it is scary that we're in a place now where you can't protest. You can't have certain acts.
Right.
You can't even get online and say what you want to say. You know, that's not hate speech.
Right.
Because I was like, some shit y'all definitely should not be getting online and saying.
Yeah.
But it is scary that by more and more by the day, we have less and less. And me and my mom and some of my aunts were talking, and she was like, it's kind of scary to think that, like, you have, and my parents, like, our parents are in their 50s and 60s, and it's like, you have less rights than I did growing up, and it's like, that's
a huge
insane.
issue. That's a huge issue.
Major issue. And we're very grateful to live in New York, so we do live in places where, like, women's health care is a big thing.
Yes.
And when, like, you know, they're not cracking down on, you know, marriage and domestic violence and all of that, like the stuff that's happening in the Deep South. But it's like, I feel for those people. And it's like, yes, everybody wants to leave. I want to live in Europe anyway for other reasons that are not included in, like, this whole governmental thing.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that we all should think about, if everybody moves out the U.S., who's going to fight for the people that can't leave the U.S.? And that's one thing that I think more people should talk about, more people should be aware of.
Because not everybody can afford that.
Not only can everybody afford that.
I can't afford that right now.
People don't want to go. This is their home.
Yeah.
And why should we have to be forced out?
Yep. Right. Why should we be forced out?
We quite literally are American. We're Americans. Like, I know everybody trying to be like, Black Americans don't know where they're from. Yes. Baby, my family is from Ohio in the deep south of Georgia. I am an American.
Yeah.
I'm a Black American.
Yeah.
We have a culture. And y'all know what our culture is. I don't even say it for you. Y'all be taking
African American culture.
Yeah, y'all know what's going on over here. But side note. But it's extremely, it's just we're raining upon scary times.
We are. It's actually very terrifying to see where we'll be in a year.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Quite literally a year. But we're gonna put a pin in that.
Yeah. Enough of the polls.
And we're gonna get into a much lighter note. Let's get into our Girl Let's Talk segment.
The beauty and fashion.
And the WNBA draft just passed.
Okay.
And the ladies there were looking very good.
Yes, they were.
Before we talk about their outfits, let's talk about our first rounders.
Okay.
With the number 1 pick for the Indiana Fever, we had Caitlin Clark of Iowa.
Period.
With the number 2 pick for the Los Angeles Sparks, we had Cameron Brink of Stanford.
Period.
Number 3 pick of the Chicago Sky via the Phoenix Mercury, we had Camila Cardosa of South Carolina. Go Gamecocks.
And
of the number 4 pick, we had the Los Angeles Sparks via the Seattle Storm, Rakia Jackson of Tennessee. The number 5 pick of Dallas for the Dallas Wings via the Chicago Sky, we had J.C. Sheldon of Ohio State. With the number 6 pick, we had the Washington Mystics, Aaliyah Edwards of UConn. With the number 7 pick, we had the Chicago Sky via the Minnesota Lynx, Angel Reese.
Period,
of
sister.
LSU.
Period.
This is an Angel Reese stan account.
Period.
I am now a Chicago Sky fan.
I'm weak.
With the number 8 pick, we have the Minnesota Lynx via the Atlanta Dream, Alyssa Pilley of Utah. The number 9 pick of the Dallas Wings, we had Carla Lett from France. With the number 10 pick, we have the Connecticut Sun, Layla Lacan of France. Then with the number 11 pick, the New York Liberty selected Marquisha Davis from Ole Miss. And with the number 12 pick, the Atlanta Dream via the Las Vegas Aces picked Nyadu Pooch of Australia. And please forgive me if I butchered any of their names. And first and foremost, the ladies looked absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
Absolutely gorgeous. And I personally, this is now a WNBA household.
It is.
I am about to purchase a WNBA streaming package. I'm not a sports girly, but I'm about to be a women's basketball girl.
Period.
Quite literally, it's giving, woo, go sports. That's quite literally what it's
I
giving.
wink now. Woo, go sports.
Quite literally what it's giving. I'm very excited. This was a great year for college basketball. This
It
is
was.
about to be an even better year for the WNBA.
Was.
And also, let my grandma tell it to you. She's been watching women's basketball since the beginning of time. So she was like, y'all just got here. I'm here.
Period.
And shout out to her. But let's get into the women's sports. Let's get into the fashion of it all. Yes.
Period. Okay, so speaking of the fashion of it all, the WNBA always has what they call their orange carpet. And so there was a lot of beautiful and gorgeous looks. But I want to discuss what I consider my top 5 favorite and see also what you think. So I want to go ahead and start off with our sis, Angel Reese. She wore a silver hooded gown by Bronx and Bonko that was inspired by Rihanna's 2014 CFDA Awards look, the Council of Fashion Designers of America. And it had that particular look of Rihanna's had 216,000 Swarovski crystals encrusted on it, and it was a custom Adam Selman sheer gown. Now, when I saw Angel Reese's take on it, I immediately was like, oh my god, this is the look that like Rihanna wore. And I remember like seeing that moment because she really broke the internet back in 2014 when that came out. First of all, it's like a really nice sheer dress where you can like see the inside, so it really looks like it's just like kind of like crystals.
It's mesh,
on your body.
Mesh.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's truthfully like an elegant, very much like Marilyn Monroe type of moment, I feel like, that dress gives. And seeing that on Angel Reese, I thought she looked absolutely stunning. And this apparently, from what I know, was actually not her first choice of what she was going to wear to the awards. So this was the second choice. But I think this choice was it.
Oh, she looks great.
It for me.
She looks fabulous. But also, I have never seen Angel Reese look bad.
That part.
So
Face, card never decline. Hair always looking good.
that's quite literally all I have to say on that.
Edges swooped. Yeah. Like she actually really does always look on point.
Her hair stay laid. I've like quite literally never seen her looking bad. So yeah.
No notes.
No notes. Next.
Okay, so the next person I want to talk about, Miss First Round Pick herself, Caitlin Clark. So Caitlin Clark was dripped down in Prada, okay? Now, a fun fact, this was the first time an Italian designer house has ever dressed an athlete in the NBA or WNBA draft. I feel like that speaks volumes. We could clearly see how much Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese too has had a complete hold on this current generation. So to see a designer house come in and be like, we're going to dress her for a draft, not an award show, a sports draft, is very insane and also very iconic to me. Okay, so the outfit consisted of a white satin skirt suit with an embroidered rhinestone mesh top. And the mesh top is kind of like cropped. But everything about the look was very tasteful. I thought it was cute. I thought it was very posh. Very posh, if you will. And I liked seeing like Caitlin Clark really dressed up. Yeah, I thought it was a really cute look. What did you think?
I thought it was cute.
Okay.
I thought it was just that. I have seen that look ish, like a rendition of that look, that Prada look on multiple occasions
Okay.
on other people. The only note I had was that little ass kitten heel they had her in.
Oh, the heels.
I quite literally hated that.
I don't like kitten heels.
It was like a half an inch, y'all. I thought it was almost disrespectful to have her in those. But the bit itself was cute. Also, she was carrying what I personally call a stupid ass bag. For those that are unaware of what a stupid ass bag is, it is a little purse that you can't fit anything in. I own a lot of stupid ass bags. But I thought her stupid ass bag was very, very fucking cute. I'm like literally about to brand that. I was carrying a stupid ass bag earlier. I couldn't even fit my wallet in there. I had to take my cards out of my wallet and put it in there. Like, you can't fit shit in them. But they're very,
so cute.
Very cute.
They're
very
so
cute. Stupid ass bags.
Screw functionality. Like,
quite literally.
Screw functionality. I feel like little ass bags.
Who needs a wallet?
Right. All you need is your cards, for real.
Bags are getting ridiculous too, because it's like, why is my lip gloss struggling to fit in here?
No, literally.
Like that little stupid ass Chocolate's bag.
It's very much all for the visuals.
But they're cute though. They're cute though. It was cute. Like, it was cute. That's it.
Okay, so let's get into Miss Cameron Brink. She wore a high slit Balmain dress. I almost want to say this was my favorite look, but the high slit was giving legs. It was giving very much legs. And I'm really into like different fashion like pieces, dresses, two pieces that are having very specific cuts and slits. And I like the way that two-piece set that she had on wrapped around her body. I felt like, yeah, I loved it. No notes. How did you feel about it?
She's a cute girl. I thought also she's very tall, so I thought it was a great pick to have like your leg out like that.
It is giving that. All right, next up is Nadia Potch. She wore a green gradient halter silk gown. First of all, I love a gradient moment. When I saw this dress on TV,
little ombre,
I was just like, oh, this might be the look of the night. Like, first of all, the way that this foam green looked on her skin complexion, it was giving very much, something about this dress was giving very much like red carpet ready for me. Like, I was just like, I don't think we had a sports draft anymore. Like, it's giving very much, we might be at somebody award show. But I really, really loved her look. And she's so cute. She's actually from Australia. So whenever she talks, it just feels very, I don't know, everything about her and how she looked is elegance.
I also, after watching the draft and just kind of like seeing all the discourse around it, I almost hated that I didn't watch any previous ones.
Oh, I thought you was about to say they was talking down on her or something in her look.
No. I'm just saying, I just hated that I didn't, tap in sooner.
Well, let me tell you, the fashion has always been there.
Yes.
Let me say that. Yeah.
I didn't tap in sooner. I kind of wish I did.
Got you.
But again,
that's okay.
The girls look stunner.
You about to be a WNBA super fan now, so it's up.
Listen, I'm gonna be at those games. I don't want to be a Caitlin Clark hater. I'm not a Caitlin Clark hater. It's not her fault, but I think the way the media has hyped her up due to them trying to make Angel Reese look like a villain.
Yeah, we're losing the plot there.
We're quite literally losing the plot.
I would agree. You can love both women, but the issue about whenever there's a black woman at the level of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese,
savior.
It's not even just the white savior. You're always going to demonize her. Serena Williams, demonized time and time again.
But then they chose somebody else to like uplift, and I think Caitlin Clark was in that position at the time.
Yeah.
I
think what's great though about a lot of women college basketball and the WNBAs, you see a lot of non-black girls who are prominent, women, who are prominent in those prospective leagues, who are speaking up about the way that the media depicts black women. And I personally, that's something that I love about specifically women's basketball. Yeah, I like it. But I will say, like, I will say I hate to see Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese always being compared, even though they are very much like the face of women's college sports. But I think even amongst their competitiveness, and I even saw this in an interview that Angel Reese did. She was like, "Oh yeah, like me and Caitlin Clark, we go talk shit to each other on the court, but like I respect the fuck out of her."
No, and as they should. That's why I'm like, I'm not a Caitlin Clark hater. Let's get that clear. But I think the way the media has propped her up due to,
and that's out of her control,
quite literally, but due to not wanting to root for Angel Reese, or finding like we need an underdog, like, no, it still ain't got no ring.
I can't with us. Let me stop. So the fifth Gwirlington is
still ain't got one. I saw something on TikTok. They were like, I call Caitlin Clark, no rings.
You know what? Y'all going to hell. I'm just letting you know right now. Don't do her like that.
This is not a Caitlin Clark hate account. It's really not.
Oh, no.
It's not at all.
I'm a Caitlin Clark stan account, personally.
I respect and quite literally love the shit talk. I love the little toe-to-toe shit. I mean, I think shit talk is either going to make you a worse player or a better player. And it makes Caitlin a better player. The best of the best, it'll make you a better player. Yeah. So keep doing it.
Right. And also, too, let's normalize women being able to talk shit on the court.
Yes.
Like,
y'all let the men do it.
Exactly.
That's why I fucked your baby moms. Like, please.
That wasn't the type of what I was.
Be respectful. No, but I'm saying that's what they get on there and say.
I know.
It's just kind of like, but the girls can't even say, like, oh, you ain't got no rings. Oh, you can't guard me.
And mind you, the boys do it all the time. They do all countless. Nobody ever talks about that, though. Nobody ever talks about that. Why? Because it was never a problem until
we started to do it.
Interesting. Okay. All right. And then getting into our fifth Gwirlington, our last Gwirlington of the top 5, Camila Cordoza wore a power red suit. Now,
she retired that red wig. I see. She left it in South Carolina. They told her she had to leave that.
She typically does rock a nice little burgundy red, right? But she pulled out the black for us, or a dark brown.
It was black.
Okay. And normally red and, well, I will say red and orange is very hard on the eyes. But what I will say is that suit, it looked good on her. Okay, she had this power red suit, no shirt, no blouse underneath, and this beautiful iced out heart piece. And just looked gorgeous, just looked classy. I love that she switched up her hair. She had to with that red suit because that would have been way too much. But needless to say, I think she looked absolutely stunning. How did you feel about her look?
I thought she looked great. The one thing I loved about it is that she went with a local Chicago designer instead of a major designer like some of the other girls, which I thought was a nice and amazing touch. I personally am a Camila Cardoza fan just off her story alone. Came to the U.S., did not speak English at all.
Right.
To play basketball.
Right.
Now my girl got 2 rings.
Yeah.
Is a round 1 draft pick.
Yeah. And
is going to play at the Chicago Sky. Like,
I can't wait to see her and Angel on the same.
For a black coach at that.
On the same court. I'm so excited.
I'm a fan. I'm trying to figure out, do I want a Reese jersey? Do I want a Cardoza jersey? I might just get both.
Listen.
When the Sky comes to play the Liberty, I'm in there. I'm telling y'all, it's WNBA household. Quite literally. Okay. Also, before we move on to the next part of this little segment, I just want to call out Paige Beckers and her little 10-piece white LeBron James looking suit, Easter suit with her little ones on. She looked so cute. I thought the suit was so freaking cute. I just wanted to call her out because I was just like, Paige, she plays for UConn, y'all.
Right.
And they're projecting her to go top 3 next year pending how she plays and all that's going to be going on. But I thought she looked absolutely great. And I thought the suit was great. It wasn't even her draft. It still made headlines. So shout out to Paige.
Facts. Okay. Well, within that same realm of fashion, I will say we would be remiss if we did not discuss the pay gap of it all. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's all I'm about to say. No, yeah, that's ridiculous.
This is what I will say because, and I'm going to break some things down for y'all. Obviously, WNBA players are not paid the same as NBA. And there's always a lot of discourse around draft time when these conversations come up. And so a lot of people's argument is, well, the WNBA, they don't bring in enough money, so how would they be able to pay their players the amounts that y'all want them to pay their players?
Are the WNBA and the NBA, do they not have the same, like,
The
overhead?
NBA is the parent company of the WNBA,
Okay,
which means
so they got the
NBA...
coin.
The NBA is in charge of putting the WNBA, which I'm about to get into, in the position to be able to earn the amount of money that they should be getting and what they deserve to truthfully have.
What y'all need to do first and foremost is put those games on TV. Then maybe they'll start generating some revenue. It is so hard, y'all.
Well, they're on TV, but they're on smaller networks.
Yes, but they don't stream all of them. So, like,
Right.
they stream every single NBA game. It don't matter who playing. It could be the worst teams in the league. They're
but
getting
on
TV
major TV networks that have huge audiences.
Exactly. The WNBA games, that's why you got to buy the streaming package so you can watch them.
Right. So going back earlier to what I was discussing about technically who's in charge of basically the WNBA and the decisions that are made to allow them to even be on TV. And as Chandler mentioned, she's going to have to get a whole WNBA streaming package, right?
You hate to see it. But honestly, please do get the package so they can now start to show more games on TV.
Yeah.
They can get paid more, but go ahead.
One, because the NBA is the parenting company, they technically are the ones who have to go out and sell the WNBA to TV networks. And so in 2025, their contract is going to be up with the current networks that they are being played on now. But something that the NBA can very much advocate for is for the WNBA games to be streamed on bigger networks that have larger audiences. Because one, when you push out games that are on bigger networks and have larger audiences, that's how these leagues are able to garner fans and new fans. Which also, too, another way that the NBA can be advocating for this is raising ticket prices. I think what's great about this past college season is that we saw that the ticket prices and also the women's games were getting sold out for this national championship. And so
that Final Four ticket was expensive.
Yes.
It was a couple $1,000s.
Yes. And so that being said, and a lot of the reasons why the women's college basketball had so many eyes on it was because of the Caitlin Clarks, because of the Angel Reese and the amazing other women who were really in their senior or final year classes at their universities and colleges and now want to move on to the pros. And so knowing that these are two very, very much things that the NBA can, advocate for, now leads me into, let's talk about the pay gap and the pay disparity. So for one, knowing now that NIL exists, right? So which NIL, if I could sum it up, is basically what allows for college athletes to be able to partake in brand sponsorships and essentially get paid a lot of money for promoting said product, right?
Oh, and what I will say regarding the NIL, if you are not a U.S. citizen, you cannot be sponsored until you graduate. So Carmela Cardosa could not receive any sort of brand deal, sponsorship.
That's good to know.
NIL deals at all. And it was something that she actually talked about either going into the Final Four or almost immediately after, because she was just like, I feel like I'm missing out on millions of dollars that I'm bringing into I guess college basketball is a league, but into college basketball and into her university. And she was like, I'm seeing my teammates and our counterparts get millions of dollars, and she was like, I'm a top player and I can't get anything.
Which is a huge issue. And so I don't know what the NIL needs to do, but I definitely think, because a lot of
I think if you're enrolled in a U.S. university,
you should be
able
to
benefit.
I agree.
So I don't know what rules they need to change, but they need to go in there and do that so I get our girls paid.
Exactly. Because that would open up the doors for many people who come from other countries to come play here.
And even low-income backgrounds, just like Child, why can't
they'd be able to
money?
They would be able to provide for their family. And that being said, knowing that NIL exists, and like Chandler said, you can make millions of dollars off this, right? So according to on3.com, Angel Reese's estimated NIL earnings was about 1.8 million.
I feel like it's more.
Well, this was an estimation from when they last reported it. So I'm sure it's more now.
Probably for the year. But I think over the course of her 4 years, I think she's definitely made a lot more.
Oh, yes.
Yes, she's definitely made
I'm just saying more. In the most updated of what was reported, that was her current at the moment from when they last, I guess, evaluated all athletes that were top NIL earners. Needless to say, knowing that she was able to make that estimated amount, right? Now let's compare that to Caitlin Clark, who is the #1 draft pick for the WNBA, first round. Her salary is going to be at $76,000.
That's ridiculous.
wait. $76,535 to be specific. Now, let's compare that to the predicted
over her 4-year deal. That brings her at around almost $338,000, somewhere around that. It goes up a little bit.
It goes up a little bit each year, yes.
But it ain't no money.
Now let's compare that to the predicted #1 draft pick salary for the NBA, which is projected to be $12.6 million.
I think
the crickets is crazy.
Thank God that a lot of these women are going to receive other outside deals. So therefore, it's just kind of like this little chump change they're about to receiving from the WNBA is going to be basically rent and mortgage at this point in time. Maybe even a car note for some of them.
Yeah.
But what about the girls who are maybe in round 2, round 3, who are not racking in as much money in deals?
Right.
Because if Caitlin Clark is making $76K, the bottom of round 3, they have to be making 30, 40. That's why the girls go overseas and play.
They have to. And able to survive, you have to.
And I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And especially compared to what their male counterparts are making.
It's criminal. And that's really why the NBA needs to advocate. Because they could be making so much more money. And I really need the NBA to sit back, evaluate who they're about to reach out to, what ticket prices are going to look like, because at this point it's been proven, right? It's been proven that females professional sports at that, deserve more money across the board outside of basketball.
But also they may not sell out arenas every time, but they bring in a loyal, extremely loyal fan base.
Oh yeah.
But even if they sell out arenas or not, why do they not deserve the same? Especially with the parent company being the NBA. So we know the money is there.
Listen,
we had to fight for the girls to get good weight rooms.
Right.
Good facilities. Just barely got that.
Right. Which, thank God for Title IX.
Parent company, billions of dollars. Why am I making more than Caitlin Clark? Ooh. Then that's not even no tea. That's crazy.
No, because it is crazy.
That's
it is crazy. And it's a shame.
And I don't even make a crazy amount of money, so it's just that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Needless to say, we're gonna leave y'all with that. And that's pretty much all I got for the Girl Let's Talk segment. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, the beauties and the fashions?
I don't have anything. Today was a really heavy episode, so we are going to forego the Martini Club segment.
I think we can do that for this time.
We can save that for next time.
Yeah, for sure.
We also don't have any drinks today, y'all. We got water and Diet Coke.
The back of my throat's starting to feel a little...
Today was a day.
It was a recovery day.
It was a recovery day. We had a good day yesterday, but we want to thank y'all so much for tapping into episode 10.
And we have officially surpassed the average of people not making it to episode 10.
Can you believe that? I want to tell you, we may not have made it because I definitely did not want to film today.
I'm screaming. we would have made it regardless. But there was a lot of enemies put out against us.
Yeah, the weapons were prospering.
The devil was at work. He was at work. When I tell y'all, quite literally, we had a whole memory card sent here. I don't want to get into the specifics.
Yeah.
But we made this happen today, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
Well, that is officially the end of episode 10. We don't have any formal. You wanna get your Diet Coke or Stanley?
Yeah, I'll get my Diet Coke. And thank y'all so much for tapping in.
You know where to find us.
We'll see you next week. Cheers, bitch.
Cheers, bitch.